I'm here with Town of Vail Council member Sam Biszantz, who is not just a council member at this point, but is also a candidate running along with 5 other people. How are you, Sam? Thank you for making the time to come visit us.
I'm doing well. Thanks, Mark.
Perfect. So let's start nice and easy.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am, most importantly, currently on council. I won the 2-year term, which I'm very grateful for, 2 years ago. And I am also a mom, new mom. He's about to turn 1 year old. And I own 2 Arrows in Root and Flower in Vail Village. And that is
How fast did those 2 years go?
very fast.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yes, it's crazy. I'm very glad I saved all my signs.
Yeah. It feels just like yesterday we were recording this, but a term on town council just zooms right by.
Yeah.
When and why did you move to the wonderful town of Vail?
I moved here officially in 2009. I kind of have a similar story to a lot of people. Grew up coming here with my family skiing and then came here right after college, and I never left. And I love living here because I knew I wanted to work in hospitality, and I love how this town embraces the hospitality schedule. I was in San Francisco for a quick minute after college, and I didn't love I had a great time there, but it was hard being friends with a bunch of 9-to-5ers when I was more like 3 to 11 or 7 to 3 or, Tuesday, Wednesdays off kind of a thing. And so I liked that this town embraced hospitality as a career, and obviously the beauty and the culture and way of life and everything. I just fell in love with it.
Yep. And you brought up you're now a mother.
I am.
Being a parent in Vail, it gives you a very different perspective than being a single, although I was never a single person in Vail, but I was a childless person in Vail for a while. It's very different.
Very different, but also really cool. Like I feel so lucky that I've had so many different life experiences here. I've been a kid here. I've been still a kid, but a 22-year-old
An
kid.
older kid.
Here. And, then started my career and professional life here as a single person. And then now I'm married and a mother. And so, little things like the amount of parks that are so amazing all over the village that I don't feel like you really explore until you're a parent.
Right.
Is incredible. And so I think it's just going to continue to change and grow my love for this place.
So speaking of this place, because that's the topic of our conversation, what are your general impressions of how things are going in the town now?
I think we're at a really exciting point because the council before me and this current council has made some big moves, I believe, in the right direction in terms of housing with Timber Ridge and South Face. I keep wanting to call it West Middle Creek, but South Face coming online. And so I think that we're at I've been thinking a lot about what do I want to do in my next term kind of a thing. This might be a later question. Sorry for jumping ahead. But I think we're at an exciting point because, we've made such big moves in housing. It's kind of like, okay, the next council, I feel like the focus is really going to be on how do we make it livable in other ways. You know what I mean?
Right.
What other amenities does this town need to provide? Because we're about to increase the population by 20%, 1,000 new residents going in is a big change. And what are those residents going to want and need? And that's going to be a focus. And that's a lot more fun than financing South Face, in my opinion.
Yes.
I'm glad we did it also.
Yes. So you sort of anticipated where I was going to go. But so one of the hot button issues, my question is, what do you see as the hot button issues right now? Obviously, one of them, housing is being built and quality of life, and that is one of them. feel free to expand on that or tell me some of the other hot button issues in your opinion.
I think, yes, housing, way of life. Again, we have these two big projects. They're going, and that train's not stopping. And so now I think, and I ran on this last time, I think the focus for the next council in terms of housing will be on that continuum. And so how do we get more houses in neighborhoods? What creative ways can we come up with to find more parcels like the CDOT parcel in East Vail, which is going to have, hopefully, that'll be one of my priorities to get that done, but be another project like the Chamonix neighborhood with houses with garages and a playground and this and that. And so I think housing is still going to be a big priority, but it's going to be different than the past 2 years, which were more the big buildings, which we definitely need. Other issues, I think, are, let's see, we are kind of at a time where there's a lot of infill development coming in. It's just sort of the nature of being a 60-year-old town.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of buildings that are aged and will be changed. And, it's up to this next council and probably the next one, it's just going to continue happening because those buildings are 60, 50, 40 years old. What do we want to see happen with those buildings, and anything from the architectural style of them to who the tenants are to is there one little employee housing unit in the basement of it, or have we decided to consolidate those in Timber Ridge? There's so many different aspects to it that I think that's going to be a big one. So quality of life, now that we are going to have all these new residents, and then sort of managing the inevitable development, I would say, are the two big things for this next council.
Cool. Why are you running for re-election?
Well, first and foremost, because I love it. I really, really do. I have 2 businesses, like I said, and I love running those 2. I'm very lucky. One's 10 years and one's 8 years old. And as much as things change and ebb and flow and people come and go, at the end of the day, it's kind of the same. It's a little Groundhog's Day-ish, running businesses in Vail, because it's like, oh, it's off season. Let's take our menu down. Oh, we got to ramp up for winter. And then it all happens again 6 months later. But council is just constantly changing. And I think and so my brain loves that on a personal level, but also seeing the impact that we can have is just so cool. I felt that a little bit on the boards that I was on before the Commission on Special Events, seeing the calendar of events fill up because of the work that I did was exciting. But now being on council, the impact is so much, the scope is so much wider, and really taking into consideration trying as best as you can to take into consideration every resident with every decision from, if you look at a council meeting agenda, it's like anything from an engineering feat to a cultural music thing to this and that. It's just like it's so fun. Like I truly love it, and I love representing this town.
So you mentioned the CSE. We served on the CSE together many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, but outside of official or appointed positions such as council or the CSE, have you worked on, as an activist, any specific issues within the town, and how did that effort turn out?
You mean not on council or not on CSE?
Yes. Something that you might have done before you were appointed or you ran. Or outside of the scope of those positions.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like probably, but...
Although I remember one that you...
Okay. Help me out.
With the survey.
Oh, yeah. That was super cool. So, yeah, that was part
Not
of
trying to answer for you.
No, I
do
appreciate
remember
it.
when you did that.
And it's kind of all blurs together because that was on that short little time in between CSE and council. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I've tried to be active. Now that I'm on council, I can't be as active, but before that tried to be very active with social media because I know that's the way to reach my demographic and younger. And so one example that he's talking about, which was really cool to see the power of just getting the word out there, was during the Destination Stewardship Roadmap series. Long story short, I put a post on Instagram basically saying, like, hello, young people, no one has responded to the survey. And then magically, a couple weeks later, when all of the younger generation responded to the survey, the priorities like completely swapped. Housing was on the bottom the first go around, and then need for affordable housing went to the top of survey respondent needs.
It was huge. It changed
Totally changed
the entire process, because that was not on my bingo card. It was very impressive.
Yeah, it was super cool to see that play out. And so, yeah.
Okay, so when an issue comes before council, and I'm not thinking of something like approving the street overlay, but when when something fun comes up that people are talking to you in City Market or Safeway about, what is your fact-finding strategy, and how do you make sure that not just you are well informed, but work into that answer who you see representing when it comes down to when you have to say yay or nay?
Well, I think it depends on the issue. But generally speaking, I do everything from trying to reach out to like the key stakeholders of the issue, unless it's a public hearing, because then you're not so much allowed to.
Quasi-judicial,
which I don't think a lot of people understand. That's a complicated part of our agenda, I guess. But generally speaking, I try to reach out to, key stakeholders. And then also, like, one of my favorite things to do is go into Two Arrows and ask the employees who work there and be like, hey, is this band still cool? Or before the single-use plastic thing, I was in there and I was like, hey, you guys, should we be in plastic? Like, would that be crazy or would that be cool? And everyone in there was like, that'd be super cool. I don't understand why we have any plastic. So yeah, I have this little yellow notebook that I've had since my last election that has all of my notes in it from the countless and countless meetings that I've had over the years. But I really try to engage the key stakeholders in the issue, obviously talk to my fellow council members, and Russ, our town manager, staff also hold the answers, a lot of the answers. So just engage all the people, and then also around town, ask people how they're feeling.
Cool. People in this town are not shy about telling you their opinions, are they?
No.
Which is one of the beautiful things about Vail, is just how engaged the citizens are. So we're coming to the end. So give you an opportunity to tell us why we should vote for you.
Okay, well, I think, I thought this before and even more so now. Like, I truly feel like I am such a good, I'm such a good representation of so many different people in this town, from the person who visits here, because I do believe that Vail as a tourism economy, a resort community, whatever version of that phrase you want to say, we do need to represent on town council the people who live, work, and play here. And so I grew up coming here as a visitor. Again, I was a young employee here, started as a concierge and reservations agent, and then business owner, employer, now mom, this and that. I feel like between both my experience on Commission on Special Events, the last 2 years on council, and just who I am as a person, I think I'm a great person to have on the council to represent our community.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Both for coming here and talking with us here, and as well as all the time you devote to the town. So thank you so much, and we'll see you at the live forum coming up.
Sounds good. Thank you.